I don't know when these videos necessarily start because YouTube with this app on my phone, it tweaks. It tweaks. So, yo, what up? It's Aaron Moses. Gang, in this video, I'm gonna be talking about one of my homegirls from my past, from my childhood actually. We didn't grow up with each other or anything like that. If you went to high school with me, 9.9999 times out of 10, you're not gonna watch this video. But if you went to high school with me and you knew who I was, then you know I had a very good female friend. I'm not gonna say her name because I just don't want to put her information out there. I'm gonna tell all her business, but I'm not about to tell what her name was because you might not have known me, but you know her, right? So I had this friend. We met in high school on the bus. I saw her at the park down the street from my house, and I was just like, ugh. But I thought that she was a lot older than she was because I was, I was a little guy, man. I was short in high school. I don't know what was. My parents didn't feed me, man. That's all it is. But then I saw her on the bus at some point, and I was like, she's in high school? Oh, let's get it. So I walked up to her. I was like, hey, did you go to the park this summer? And she was like, yeah, what up? So eventually, we probably had a class or two together. And no, I don't think we did at all. But eventually, we started hanging out after school. She would come to my house, I'll go to her house. And people would be asking me questions about it, like, "Oh, is it true?" And I'm like, "Is what true? Does she really have chlamydia?" And I was like, what is that? Like, is that a bone marrow thing? What is that?" They're like, "No, chlamydia is, you know." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know. Well, let me ask." So, like a good friend, I was like, "Hey, you got the what? You are you burning?" And she was like, "No." This is what happened. This is how we really started bonding because this was a good friend of mine, man. Now, because I had a single mom, I didn't have my cousins around for this stage of my life. So this is 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, right? And I always to me, I was just a ladies' man, just a ladies' man, right? But I actually really wanted to engage with this female on that level. And of course, your mom is gonna tell you the exact opposite of what you need to do. Now, I'm gonna give you some nerd facts. All right. Now, there are two ways that the animal species, well, any animal species, chooses to mate. One is pair bonding, right? Pair bonding is penguins. Pair bonding is when you bring people gifts, when you simp. That's pair bonding. All right. And the second way, I forgot what it's called. I think it's called natural selection. Pretty much where the female of the species chooses the strongest male, and the male that is more aligned with their ranking. So alpha females mate with alpha males, beta, beta, zeta, beta, omega, beta, whatever, right? So lions do that, all right? Human beings, we're somewhere in the middle. Some are natural selection maters, and some are pair bonding maters. So think to yourself, are you a penguin or are you a lion? All right, back to the show. So I asked her, I was like, hey, are you burning? Do you have the clap? Because I'm trying to tap. And she was like, no. And she proceeded to tell me that when she was 13 years old, she met this 30-year-old dude in the chat room. He lured her to a hotel and he gave her, unfortunately, the not so good business. And from there, when she lost her V card, she proceeded to get not the clap, but gonorrhea, right? Now, we began to bond, trauma bond, pretty much over all the negative things that had gone on in her childhood and her life. Telling me that her mom was on D-rugs, telling me that she was a alcoholic, telling me how she, had that situation go on. She was always, in need of money. And at that time, my mom had got me really my first job ever. My mom worked at a, what's it called? She worked at an apartment complex as a leasing um, professional. She would sign people and choose who could stay in the apartment complex. And I was their sign boy. I would stand and sign the office open today. If you sign up now, if you sign your lease today, you get the first month free. I was signing the, flipping the signs, right? And this is Atlanta, Georgia, man. Summertime is hot. Now, I liked money. I liked what money could do for me. And I was not making, I was probably making like $5 an hour, bro. Probably $6, $8 an hour. Um, in 2000 like 5 or something like that. So the days that I didn't feel like going, I would be like, hey, friend, there's a job that I work. That's how I keep getting money. So instead of asking me for money, you could go ahead and do the thing yourself. So I was hooking, not only giving her money, hooking her up with a job, herself. We'll be going shopping, like girlfriends do, not knowing that this is not how you get the skins. But later on, I would definitely figure that out. So she would be hanging out, talking about our problems and talking about our childhoods. And like, I'll go in over her house in the morning. My mom would be like, bro, you weren't standing outside in the morning when you took the bus. Where do you go? And I was like, I go to my friend's house, and she makes her mom makes us breakfast, and blah blah blah. And she was like, you don't be going there. She was like, don't go over there, cause I don't want them white people to think I don't beat you. And I was like, bitch, you don't. And she was like, well, still, don't go over there looking like a beggar. And I was like, I'm going to my friend's house in the morning. And she'll be smoking her weed. I didn't smoke weed at the time, smoking cigarettes. And she pierced my ear. She pierced my cartilage in my ear. And she taught me a lot of cool stuff. She'll tell me a little weird, little sex stories she had, which was unfortunate, you know. But at some point, she told me that the dude who did that to her was getting out of prison, and she was all scared because the dude knew where she lived, because he was supposed to know where not to go, because he was on that SO list and they had a restraining order on him and all of that, and he was always calling and sending her letters saying he loved her. It was crazy and nasty. But at some point, she'll be playing games with me. I'll sneak her in my house after school. She'll be playing games, like she'll show me her booty. She'll show me her breast. She would like be laying on my bed like, hey, Aaron, you ready for this? Like tapping the vagina area of her pants. And I'm thinking, I'm about to smash. God, you did it, dog. About to get it. Right? So she would be telling me stories about this dude that she would have a crush on, right? And me just not being connected all the way, because I'm not thinking with the right head. I'm thinking with the right head, but just not at the right time. You know what I mean? So eventually I was like, baby, baby, you don't gotta play these games. You could tell me who your crush is. And she was like, are you sure? And I was looking at her like, yeah, I'm sure. Tell me who the crush is. And she told me, she was like, okay, his name's Tim. I was like, what? Tim? The nigga with the glasses? What? You're laying on my bed with your legs open, telling me about this mother. You know what? Maybe this is a test. Maybe this is God testing me to see if I'm really ready to receive his blessings. The prayers I've been praying, God, please put some pussy on my bed free. I don't have to pay for it. Amen. That's not what God does. Don't pray for pussy. God is not the pussy deliverer. Okay, don't do that. I had to find out the hard way. Don't pray to God for pussy. That's not how it works. You cannot pray to God for pussy and then repent later. That's not how it works. Don't do it. It's just blasphemy. So anyways, I was like, maybe she's just maybe she's playing these mind games, because I've been giving her money to buy her shoes and weed and holding weed for her in school and doing all these illegal things and going to her to the mall, acting like a girlfriend, all kind of stuff. listening to her problems, how she got beaten, her mom was on drugs. I'm listening to all these problems. So I'm thinking, this is how you do it, because this is what I'm seeing on TV. So she was eventually like, "Hey, Aaron, can I use your phone? I want to call." And I was like, "Bro, I know you're not gonna lay on my bed with your titties out, talking to this nigga on my mom's phone." But she did. And eventually I was like, "Hey man, what's up with that pussy though?" And she was like, "Excuse me?" And I was like, "What's up with that pussy though?" I didn't say it like that. She was a white girl. And I was like, "Look, man, we're friends. I like you. I want you. Now look, we could do this the easy way or we could do this the easy your way, because I'm not going to jail for that." And she was like, I'm just, it's not that you're not attractive. And you are a great friend, Aaron. I'm just not into black guys. And I was like, what? You're not into you showing me your titties. I'm grabbing two hands full of ass. You're laying on my bed, playing with me, eating up all the Cheetos. My mama didn't buy them for you. She bought those for me and my sister. Eating up all my Cheetos. You got me doing this mule thing, carrying the weed in school. I want to go to college. You gonna get me expelled for no reason. This is the third best high school in the Southeast United States. You gonna get me in trouble, okay? And she was like, she proceeded to tell me, now this is not comical at all. This is where it gets serious. Now, fathers, this is a big reason, but before all of that stuff that I said, this is a great reason why you need to be a father to your daughters, to your sons as well. But this little girl shouldn't have gone through any of that. Her father had passed away, but she also had a stepfather and she had a mother at her home. But I don't know if I think the dude ended up getting injured. That's why he couldn't really do his job. He hadn't been working for so long, and they were renting the condo from his brother. But fathers, be a father to your daughter, because the rest of the story is really going to get dark. Like all that comical stuff is out the window now. So I was like, "So what you think I'm ugly because I'm black?" Or she was like, "I think you're attractive. I think you're highly attractive. I've always been this. My face was a little rounder. I just didn't have all this facial hair to make it just, my bad. Okay, okay. Serious, serious." She told me that she had gone to a party. She was high and drunk. And this is like the year before. It was like, so we were like 14, 15. And she was like 12 or 13. So she went to a party, and when she was trying to get a ride home, these dudes took her from the party to a gas station and orally sodomized her. And if you don't know what that means when you are forced to give someone, the mouth. And they were both black, and they said they wouldn't take her home until she did it, and she did it, and then they dropped her off at the crib, and that is the reason that she would not let me smash. Now, after that, I was understanding, right? I was understanding to an extent, but because I was a teenager, I was just a horny, just a horny teenager. I was like, bro, so you knew you weren't gonna let me smash from the beginning. It was pretty obvious that's what I wanted to do. Yeah, you were cool, but at some point I grew to like you, and I was like, man, and that's what I wanted, you know. So eventually, I began to resent her because she was talking about this weird ass little nigga Tim all the time. She was hanging out with some of my black male friends, making herself look like she wanted to do that with them. And I'm thinking like, bro, you're just gonna lure in all these black dudes who are gonna do all these good deeds for you, simp for you. They're not really good deeds. It's in the hopes of getting that thing. So you're gonna lure in all these young black guys, use them for their money, knowing that that's not gonna happen. And I began to get angry. I began to get upset. I began to get resentful. And eventually, we stopped becoming friends. I even just started doing petty stuff myself. You know what I mean? And now that I think about it, just to this day, the reason that she probably had those rumors on her is because she had been doing this maybe just to feel like she got back at those two black guys who did that to her. So she was just gonna do that specifically to black dudes. And I never really noticed the pattern that all of these stories that she had about her physical encounters, they never had a black dude in it. She would always describe them as not black, you know what I mean? But eventually, she always told me that her type was, some light skinned Mexican dude with dark hair. She eventually got what she wanted, and they had kids. They both proceeded to do, crack. She called the police on him one too many times. He got deported, and she kept going in and out of jail, in and out of jail. Eventually, she went to prison. I don't know how she's doing, because the last time I talked to her was like 2000, maybe 19, when I still lived in Chicago. 2018, no, not 18, 2019, when I got out myself of whatever situation I was in. And of course, she was doing the same thing, sending me titty pictures. And she went to prison after that. She went to prison after that. I think she violated her parole or something like that. But yeah, man, that was the story. I think she might be okay. I haven't looked for her. I haven't spoken to her. I had contact with her sister. Her little sister had been running away, and I think I got a hold of her, and she told me she was in jail, and she posted her information about how to write her and all of that. But the last time I heard, she wasn't doing well. And again, I will have to reiterate, fathers, you need to be fathers. Men, you need to be fathers to your daughter, because this can happen very easily. Very easily. This started from a very young age, and it ended up with a serious addiction and a life of crime. And children that's probably not even in her custody at some point, hotel living at some point, homelessness at some point, being on Facebook, begging, asking people to drive, substances to her residence so she could numb her pain that she had been going through damn near her whole life. Like, it's not even really about me being affected and how I probably wasn't ready for that type of information and that style of relationship that I was in. It taught me a lot. That's something that I needed at the time. But this doesn't just affect one person. You not raising your child, you not being a father to your daughter doesn't just affect one person. That could affect the whole world potentially. But on a smaller scale, it's definitely gonna affect 10 people that's gonna affect 10 people that are gonna affect 10 more people. All just because you weren't there being a guider, guarder, and protector of your own child. Not a stranger, not the neighbor, not your cousin, your own child. Be a father, man. Peace.